Texans and the Colts. We got a divisional matchup here to start the season. Big one here for both of these teams. Texans looking to take a division, and of course, the Colts are looking to be a sleeper team to sort of take that division and take that next step here. This one's in Indianapolis. What's the matchup that matters here for you, Carmen?
It's Michael Pittman Jr. and Derek Stingley Jr.
Hell yeah.
It's the matchup of the juniors.
Hell yeah. Bloodlines.
Again, I think that with the success of the Texans offense last year and CJ Stroud, that really overtook all of the narratives from what DeMeco Ryans has done with this defense, and more specifically, what Derek Stingley has been able to do. He was such a highly touted prospect coming out of LSU, and I was actually at his pro day, blew everybody away. 17 passing touchdowns allowed, which is the fewest in the regular season. 39.1% on third, fourth down conversions allowed, ninth best. I mean, the 17 passing touchdowns was the unit as a whole, but Derek Stingley has such a huge part to do with that. He's an 86.2 coverage grade and led the team with 5 interceptions. So he forces incompletions on 23% of his targets. That's wild. And I really think that we're not talking enough about that. And I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be Anthony Richardson's guy when it comes to the pass game.
Sure.
And I want to see just what that matchup looks like. I think that there are some other components to the Colts offense that are going to be important too, but this singular matchup is what's going to sway this game for me, especially when you consider that, I mean, this is Derek Stingley Jr. has risen to the top of what has been a really good unit, and we're not talking enough about it.
Stingley Jr. was my number 1 overall player that I had on my big board for that, what was it, 2022 class?
2 drafts, yeah.
We needed this. We needed this one, and he has ascended, and I think that he has arrived, and I think that last year was very good from him. If you happen to catch some of the preseason clips from him, I mean, he was reading routes almost so fast that he was overextending on where, like, before the ball was even getting there, and he knew it was coming there, but it's like he almost read it too fast. That's how well this guy was seeing the game. So I'm excited to see him play this certainly this year, but this week with a major matchup against Michael Pittman Jr. I wanted to sort of contextualize a matchup with Anthony Richardson, because I do think this game obviously goes as he goes. We expect CJ Stroud to be able to hit the ground running with these new receivers. Obviously, that's a matchup that matters, but we think that they're going to be able to have success there. Where we have question marks is really on the other side with Richardson. And I like how Richardson played last year in the couple of games before he hurt his shoulder and was out for the season. I like Shane Steichen as an offensive mind. I think he simplified things really well for Richardson last year to get the most out of his strengths and really sort of mitigate his growing pains that he was going to have naturally throughout the NFL. And I think that this is sort of a matchup I'm looking for. Richardson last year, 56.5 passing grade just overall in the games that he played. So admittedly, not great. But when he was on the run, the passing grade went all the way up to a 69.5. So that's much more like serviceable. You can work with that. So the rollouts, the scrambles, getting Anthony Richardson on the move, and even like moving the pocket, I think allows him to just be more of a natural athlete. And do you want to develop Richardson to be more of a pocket passer? Sure you do. But going up against the Texans is damn difficult. So you almost just need to say like, hey, we got to try to get the best of you this week so we can stand a chance against a team that's the favorite to win our division, favorite to be a playoff team, and one that was an absolute house last year. So Richardson specifically versus DeMeco Ryans, linebacker children, if you will, because he plays the position. He's got a lot of pride to it, right? Yeah, his sons.
They're his sons.
And so the linebackers and the contained players specifically for this team, can you keep Richardson in the pocket? Because I think Shane Steichen's going to want to get him out and moving. Are those linebackers able to trigger quickly enough to get downhill to allow him to not be able to read the field when he does get out on the run? The linebackers and how quickly they key on what Richardson is doing, especially when he is escaping, I think is going to be a key matchup in this game. What about a plus factor for you? Who you got?
Yeah. In a very complimentary sense, I have Jonathan Taylor, just given the fact that for all the things you talked about and how much I think that this offense is going to run those RPOs, you look at what Anthony Richardson was able to do in college off play action in particular, 1,271 yards, 11 touchdowns against just 2 interceptions, 91.9 PFF grade, passing grade.
Not bad.
Off of play action. And you need the threat of a run for that. I know that it's very simplistic to say, like, oh, you need your running back to be part of that. But Jonathan Taylor, as dynamic of a running back as he is, can present so many different problems and kind of set up and open up this offense in a way that allows Anthony Richardson to utilize the full breadth of it, to run those RPOs, to even like when you're talking about those design rollouts and stuff like that, getting in space. I think a complementary piece to that is that Jonathan Taylor returns to form. So I think again, it's more a commentary on what the season needs to look like under Shane Steichen and what Anthony Richardson needs to do to be successful. But that starts against this Texans defense, like you said, is going to be able to contain or try to contain Anthony Richardson as much as possible. So get Jonathan Taylor out in space instead.
I think that's a great one. I'll switch to the other offense. My plus factor is Tank Dell, kind of returning from that injury. And he played really, really well last season. 83.3 receiving grade. Nico Collins had, I think it was a 90, 91 receiving grade. So those two as a duo were really good last year. And now you're throwing in Stephon Diggs into the mix. And I think that Dell specifically is a plus factor in the truest sense of the term, because there's some cornerback questions with the Indianapolis Colts. And you figure, okay, Juju Brents, if people think that he's going to have a good year, he's going to have to go up against Nico Collins or Stephon Diggs in this game. And then next corner up, is it Jalen Jones or who else is next? Like, they're going to have to handle whichever one Brents isn't on. And then you've got to have that third corner. I know it's probably going to be Kenny Moore, right? He's a stud slot corner. But if Dell can even have an even matchup with Kenny Moore, I think that the Colts secondary is in trouble. And so that to me is a plus factor in this one, is if you can get something out of Dell against one of the best nickel corners in the NFL, then all of a sudden I think that it is very clear advantage for the Houston Texans moving forward in this one.